Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel and another video. Before I look at today's camera, I just thought I'd just cover a couple of questions that I've had in the comments regarding the images that I've been taking with the various cameras I've been showing you. If I have some available at the time of filming, I'll certainly include them, but unfortunately the way I shoot videos, I've got several in production at any one time. I just don't have the money, the time or the resources to actually make sure I get the right images associated with the right video, and that's why I basically upload everything to my website. There's a link in the description below, so if you'd like to look at the images, they're all on there, or at least the good ones are anyway. Anyway, wasting no more time, let's take a look at another camera that is, I think, very cheap, and perhaps a good start if you want to sort of begin in the world of collecting and using vintage film cameras. Okay then, so this is the Agfa Solette. Now, this is quite a complicated story for a camera. Agfa, the German maker, brought out the Solette, the first one 1953, and I think the last one was 1974. And there were many different variants and upgrades and different options available. Far too many to cover in this video, so I'm going to basically give you a sort of little potted history. This is the first version of the Solette, and the first version, like I say, came out in 1953, but between 53 and 58 they actually made 6 different types. This is the second type, not to be confused with then the Solette 1 and the Solette 2 that came later, which I'll feature in a future video. There was the Solette Automatic, Super Solette and all that sort of thing. I'll leave you to do some research if it's something that interests you. But this is the first version, or the second type of the first version. 35mm camera. It has a fixed lens, which I'll go into more detail in a moment. It's a viewfinder camera. Later models did feature some rangefinder versions, which were called Super Solette, but this one's a viewfinder. From what I gather, in the United States they were sold under a different name, and I think it's the Ansco brand, Mimar and Super Mimar. I don't know if that's how you pronounce them, but yeah, basically it's the same camera anyway. So it's a metal bodied camera. Obviously we have this sort of leather effect on the sides, but it's a metal body camera, quite well made actually for what's now a very cheap item to get hold of. If we have a look at the back first of all, we have our viewfinder window obviously. On top then we have our spool for winding the film back once you're completed, and there is also a little setting here for setting the film speed, the ASA or ISO. If I remember correctly, it's a case of lifting it and twisting it to get a different value. We've got a cold shoe here, or an accessory shoe as some people call them. Our shutter release, which obviously has an option for a remote cable release as well, and we have our wind on lever here, which also includes a frame count. I've got a film in here at the moment, but I'm just going to waste a shot so you can hear. Okay, and then as you can see, wind on, and that changes the shutter count as well. Spinning it around to the front, obviously we've got the viewfinder window again. Down here we have an option for attaching a flash. So the flash would obviously sit in the cold shoe rather, and this would obviously provide the synchronization. And here we have our lens. Now, as I said to you, there were several different iterations of the initial Solette model. Like I said to you, this is the Type 2, and the changes were either small cosmetic things, or they were alterations to the type of lens, type of shutter system that they had, and so on. So as I said to you, this is a fixed focal lens, and on my particular model that's 45mm f3.5. It has obviously our shutter speed here, which ranges from 1 second to 1/300th per second, and there's also a bulb mode there as well. This is the focus ring. On mine it's actually really stiff, but I'm not keen to loosen that up at all, because I would actually prefer it not to be easily moved anyway. But the focal options, or focal range on this camera, if you like, goes from just about 3 feet to infinity. If I just spin it around and show you on top, we have here the aperture ring. I don't know whether you can make that out. I'll zoom in when I'm actually editing this. As you can see, 3.5 to f16. The other thing we've got here on top of the lens is a 3-way switch with options V, X or M. So unless you're using a flash, you would have it set to either X or M, it wouldn't matter. V is a delayed shutter or a self-timer mode. I think it's 7 seconds on this one, but yeah, if it was to fire the shutter on V, after 7 seconds the shutter would go off. If you're using a flash and it's hooked up to this little option here, then X or M is the method of synchronization to the flash. Different cameras, different shutter types, etc. Had different methods of synchronization. I'm going to cover those in a future video rather than actually trying to explain it all in this one. We open it, assuming you haven't got a film inside, by this little pull down clip here, and the back will pop open in the normal way. On the bottom we've got a release then for winding the film back once we're done, and a tripod mount on the bottom as well, which is fairly standard. So again, that's kind of it, but again, like the previous video, I think this is a great little camera to start with, not just in terms of starting off in 35mm film photography, but in terms of vintage cameras. There's lots of these around, and I see them on average going for about £10 to £15 sterling, which for a well-made solid camera like this, I actually think is really good. But obviously it doesn't have the sort of kudos factor that some other models do, hence it goes for a much cheaper price. So there we go, again another quick video, but hopefully information that's of use to you. Thank you once again for watching. Thank you for all those of you that have subscribed to the channel, liked, commented, all that sort of stuff. Really do appreciate it. Links are below to my website, as I said, along with my online shop for prints, and also a merchandising store if you fancy picking up a t-shirt or a hoodie. All that reminds me to say is thank you very much, and I'll see you again next time.